Welcome to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast, where you get straightforward, no-nonsense ideas on leadership and growth, both personally and professionally. It's brought to you by the Chief Coaching Officer of the Peak Performance Group. He's also a brilliant and successful serial entrepreneur. He's a two-time author. He's a certified executive coach. He's a sales genius. He's bald.
Hey now.
And he's your host of the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. Buckle your chin strap. Here's your host, Coach Rick Colster.
Hey, welcome to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. I'm Coach Rick, and I'm your host. That's right. Remember to like and subscribe below. We're available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube video, any platform out there. You can get it, folks. And if you're listening to it, you're already here. Remember to hit like and subscribe for every episode. Today, we are going to freeform a little bit, folks. And we thank you for turning us on, because we love that we have our subscribers. Our subscribers are the heart and soul of the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. Today, leading from the front and breaking barriers. That's our theme today, folks. Welcome to the Bald Truth Leadership Show. Every show, we try to have interesting and exceptional leaders. And today, no different. Our guest is an exceptional leader, folks, and has proved it by reaching the very pinnacle of his leadership in his career in the Army National Guard. He has had many positions in the Army National Guard, and he's served, and I hope he's going to correct me if I mess this one up. He was the first Army National Guard G1, which is Human Resources, Command Sergeant Major in the history. And he's also the first African American to hold that position. Command Sergeant Major. For all of you that don't know, you're listening now, you don't get no higher. That's it. The enlisted rank. That's it. You are the man of the man. And he held that position from 2010 to 2013, and he served our 350,000 soldiers in 54 states, territories, and the District of Columbia. And that's 358,000 soldiers. He's been nationally recognized by the director of the Army National Guard for leading a team that improved deployability of units by 30% in less than 1 year. So dramatic changes. He's got some leadership chops, folks. And as a strategic advisor to senior leaders in all those 54 states, territories, and District of Columbia, he provided recommendations that improved medical readiness and position qualifications by 50%. Now, he's retired, although saying retired isn't something that this man can do. He serves our veteran community as the founder of Veterans Growing America. He helps veterans and military spouses showcase and grow their businesses, partnering with local, state, and federal veteran organizations to increase their brand awareness. They conduct local events, marketing programs to increase engagement with the veteran business community. National movement, this is a huge national movement, folks. It helps veteran businesses get the resources and support they need to succeed. I am so excited to have this man on today. We welcome my friend, Donnell Johns, Command Sergeant Major. Welcome to the Bald Truth, Donnell.
Thank you for having me, Rick.
Absolutely, my friend. It's been a while. We've met a couple of years back, and you and I, we stayed in touch. We haven't seen each other for a while, but we stay in touch. And I'm just excited for what you're doing all the way around. I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit about, let's start with Veterans Growing America. I want to jump right in there. What is Veterans Growing America, and how did this come about?
So Veterans Growing America is really a community of veteran entrepreneurs that work together to grow their business. And when I say a community, when we left the military and charted out, as a single person out here, it was really, really hard for me and others to come into a community where we have to be by ourselves, And so I was out here, and I retired, and I started my business, and I really felt alone. I felt alone in business, and I didn't really know and have a community to really come together with. And I went to a couple of organizations that were, veteran-led organizations, And I really found my home. I was like, man, this is really cool. These are really cool veteran organizations, but there was really no veteran organization that really supported veteran businesses. And when I say veteran businesses in action.
Gotcha.
And so I started Veterans Growing America because I wanted a place where veterans can, showcase their goods and services and sell their goods and services to the American public. And so we did our first event. It was December of 2019 at a veteran-owned coffee shop where we hosted 20 veteran and military spouse-owned businesses.
Now, I love my veterans. See, this is a veteran-owned company. Our good friends at Black Rifle.
That is an awesome veteran-owned company. I mean, they started off as a small business, and look at them now.
I know. Just went public a couple of weeks ago. I think I bought the stock too.
Wow. I mean, that's huge. And veteran-owned companies like that all throughout the United States, I felt like if we came together, we would grow together. And so that's where the growing came from, Veterans Growing America, because, by ourselves, we can grow small, but coming together, we can grow tremendously, just like we did in the military. And that's something that we were taught how to do is to take care of one another. And these veterans didn't have a place where they can come together and grow their business while in business.
Okay. I love that. As a small business owner myself, I began my life as an entrepreneur at 22 when I was dumb enough to get out of college and buy a restaurant. Didn't know what I didn't know. It's that, what do they say, that unconscious incompetence. I didn't know what I didn't know. 40 years later, I go, what was I thinking? But now that's really they're the lifeblood of America. And veterans really do make up a very large part of that business community now. Got folks getting out. I think it might be, and just a thought here, that they're not afraid of taking chances. Sometimes they're not, there's not a lot of, there's fear. We all have fear, but their fear levels are better managed. We're all told, my dad, he grew up, worked 32 years for the same company in New Jersey, and then retired, and that was it. 52 years old, he was done. And I don't know that that's the way today, but I think the veterans really are okay with taking that chance today. And that's what's really the lifeblood of our communities. I live in a regular small-ish community. We know all the people in town. We call it Keep It in Keller. There's a little town is called Keller, and they have a whole thing, Keep It in Keller. So support your small business. Use the same dry cleaner that your buddies use. Eat at your buddy's restaurant around the corner, and we do that. So that's really one of those things that I think is just amazing. So how are you getting that message out? I guess is a big question for me. Is how do you get that message out?
So really, I allow the veterans to have a platform to tell their story.
Okay.
And that beats the algorithm, when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn is when a person sees another person's story, they identify and share that story. Just like you're allowing me a platform to tell my story on your podcast. Some of my audience will automatically come to you and be like, oh, this is pretty cool. Let's learn more about the Bald Truth podcast, And so in me, you're allowing me a platform to tell my story. It allows people to also learn about you. And they usually do a little bit of homework on the businesses that I allow to tell stories on my platform, and they usually do business with them.
That's pretty cool. So where's going to be some of your events? Are you anything around the country? What are you up to?
Yeah, so far we've done 10 events nationally. Our next event is actually at Fort Hood, the largest installation in the United States.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're going to be showcasing 30 veteran and military spouse-owned businesses at this event. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Just the number and the level of greatness that I see in all of these businesses. Just to tell you a couple of the businesses that I've worked with, I have one business he has a toothpaste powder. It's called Rip Pack, where you open it up, you put it in your mouth, and you swish it around, and it actually cleans your mouth.
Oh, okay.
There's another organization that we have that, has a dressing made out of dates, and this stuff is absolutely phenomenal dressing.
Like salad dressing?
Like it's actually a salad dressing. It's a marinade.
Oh,
It's
wow.
anything. I mean, CW Dressing, if you guys look at that, it's an amazing company. And there's countless other organizations like that that are out here in the world that, are doing something really tremendous and earth shattering, that you'll be like, man, how did these guys come up with this idea? And a lot of veterans, do that. When I started doing my research, I didn't realize that, there's a bunch of veteran-owned businesses out there that we don't even know and that we shop with every day. Like, Walmart was started by a veteran. There's a ton of them out there.
Well, that's interesting. I pay attention to it in our neighborhood locally, and being part of the local chamber of commerce, you get to see some of these guys that are coming out. We've got one. It's the guy was a SWIC. I don't know if you know what a SWIC, a Navy SWIC, and J Dog. He decided, it's a veteran-owned company. He was one of those guys. So it's like, what a cool idea! Get rid of this crap out of my house and support our community. Because, like I said, we talked earlier as we were, pre-recording for the show. My family's all veterans. My nephew's serving. My wife's a veteran, and my brothers are both veterans. So it's near and dear to our heart here at the Peak Performance Group and the Bald Truth. So you're coming into Fort Hood. Well, if you're coming in, I'm only in Dallas Fort Worth, just up the road a little bit. Maybe
you got to come see us then.
I might come down. I'll come down, or, at least get together and visit for a little bit while you're down in my neck of the woods. Texas is the friendliest state in the union. That's for sure. I love Texas. So tell us about your Let's talk about your Army career.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. When did you join the Army? What was the impetus to join the military and then just rise up the ranks to become a command sergeant major? Because that doesn't happen very often, folks. And if you're listening and you don't know, that don't happen very often. You had to go in as a private, right?
Yep. I went in as an E1. I actually joined October 17th of 1990. I actually didn't know a war was going on at the time, or a war was about to start. I had no idea that was going on.
That was the first Gulf.
Yeah, it was the Gulf War.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Gulf War was going on. And the reason why I joined is I didn't know what I wanted to be, and I actually wanted to be I did know what I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be a helicopter pilot.
Okay.
Or an airplane mechanic. And so I went to the Air Force recruiter's office twice. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, the Air Force recruiter was not there every time I showed up at his office. I caught the bus. I did all kind of stuff to make it to his office, and he never showed up. And my best friend's mom, we came home one day for work. I used to work at Marine World Africa USA when I was living in Vallejo, California. And we had came home from work, and a friend of mine's mom had a recruiter at the house, Dren Johnson.
Okay.
And she was just like, hey, you guys got to do something better than working at Marine World.
Okay.
And we sat down with the recruiter and talked to him. He asked me, he was like, yeah, Donnell, you want to be a airborne ranger? I said, absolutely not. He was like, you sure you look like a big, strong guy, you're 6 feet tall, this, that, the other, you want to jump out of planes? I said, no. And I said, no, but not no, but hell no. I knew I didn't want to do that. But I said, does the Army have offices? I said, I want to work in an office. I always see myself working in an office. And he says, we do. He was actually, he said, you could be a human resource specialist. I was like, what is that? He said, you guys do the paperwork for the military. I said, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And so I joined October 17th of 1990. And the entire time while I was in training, the drill sergeants would tell us, that we were going to war. And I would tell the drill sergeants, I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I work on a typewriter. what am I going to do? Throw a typewriter at people? And they said, private, you're going to war. I'm like, okay. And so I went all the way through training, not really believing them, even though all of this stuff was going on. I was an ignorant, 18-year-old. And in formation, when we graduated, the commander said, privates, you're all going one place. And I'm like, what is this dude talking about? You're all going to grave registration school, then you're going to Desert Storm. And I was like, grave registration school? What is that? And I didn't know what that was until after formation was over. So they taught us how to out-process bodies.
Okay.
And so I went to a one-day crash course in doing that at Fort Lee, Virginia. And then the next day I was on a plane to Desert Storm.
Wow. So you've actually served overseas as well.
Yes.
Did some time in theater.
Yeah, I did. I did time in, so Desert Storm was my first combat assignment. Then my next assignment after that, I went to Somalia.
Okay.
And I served in Somalia. From there, I went to Korea. And this is a funny story because I thought that it was another one of those things where I thought that Korea was just this relaxed place and there wasn't nothing going on. And I was going to go over there and be able to get me some nice tailored suits. And they sent me to the DMZ, the military demarcation zone. And I actually, I was working for the chaplain there. I was actually I was a chaplain assistant. What that means for people that don't know is I was actually the chaplain's bodyguard.
Okay.
And I made sure that the chaplain was able to, I carried his gun for him because the chaplain wasn't allowed to carry a gun. And I also did all of the processing of stuff for services and all of that. And it was an infantry unit that I was. And so we patrolled the DMZ, making sure that the North Koreans didn't come to the other side.
So you're literally stationed on the DMZ.
Yes.
Between North and South Korea.
Between North and South Korea.
That's crazy. We see, I mean, we've seen these pictures in movies and whatever. They make that, what's that silly movie with Bradley Cooper, where they went in there and they tried to assassinate the North Korean guy, right? Mm-hmm. But so you were literally right there.
Yes. We could actually see, I could actually look out of my bedroom window and see North Korea.
Wow.
Yes. And I actually crossed into North Korea. They have this room where you can cross into it where they have meetings. And one side of the room, it's this big sidewalk that basically is in between North Korea and South Korea. And they have a building in a room where they have meetings in, and you could actually cross onto the other side of North Korea without really being in North Korea, but inside this building.
Oh, wow. So, how interesting.
So
you're in North Korea.
Yep. I'm in North Korea. A lot of stuff went on while I was there. After I left North Korea, they gave me a cushy assignment. The cushy assignment was working at the military entrance processing station, where we process people into the military, all branches of services. I made sure that, they came in and they got qualified to join. And that was my last assignment while on active duty. I met my wife actually while I was stationed there in Denver.
Okay.
And they were actually going to send me back to Korea. And I talked to DA, and they basically was like, hey, I was a sergeant at the time, Sergeant Johns. You're on your way to Korea. I'm like, really? I'm like, no, I'm not going back to Korea. Because I was about to get out the military at the time.
So you're an E9 at this point.
No, I was actually an E6.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was an E6 by that time. And while I was at the military entrance processing station, they were trying to send me back to Korea, back to that same unit. And I had met my wife, and she was pregnant with my son. And I really wanted to go someplace where I could take my family. Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't allow me to do that. And so I had to think about other options. And so that's when I looked into transferring to the National Guard. And I transferred to the National Guard as an AGR, an active guard reserve. Okay. Which means, to those that don't know what that means, it just means that I was full-time I was a full-time soldier working for the Army National Guard. Same benefits, same everything as active
Sure.
duty. I just worked for the National Guard.
Excellent. Wow. So that moved you back, I think, to where you are now, in Virginia someplace, right?
Yeah, I was
And,
actually in. I was actually stationed in Colorado, and I transferred to be a recruiter for the Army National Guard.
okay. Well, great service story, man. I love that. I mean, and just to go from the regular Army into then continue to serve, and then continue to get promoted and move up to where you are. I'm in awe. I got to tell you, there's a little bit of fangirling going on here with you, and I know you, but I mean, that's an amazing story, because it just the strides that you made. I mean, you've had to lead men and women in all ways, whether it was in theater, whether it was doing processing, doing whatever you're doing at whatever point. So some leadership thoughts, since this is a leadership podcast, right? What are some of your core principles on leadership that every leader should know?
So my first is mission first, right? And I got this from the military. Mission first, people always. We have to understand, what we are going to do. What is our mission? What do we set out there to do in this world? And how do we fit in, and how do other people fit into our dreams?
Okay.
Second piece is just overall people over everything in relationships. One thing that I don't do is destroy any type of relationship that I have. There may be, differences and differences of opinion, but I try to maintain all relationships, no matter what the issue is, because people do things for themselves, but not against you. I'll say that one more time. People do things for themselves, but not really against you. They do things to make themselves feel better, but they don't do them against you. And then, third is be the best you. Be the best you in everything that you do. Put your best foot forward and give it all that you have in everything that you do. Your word is everything.
That's amazing. I love that. And those are some 3 great points. Mission first, then people, and then be your best. Yep. I love that. That's it. I'm reading Jack Reacher books. I don't know if you've seen the TV show, the new show just came out, Jack Reacher.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'll tell you what, we watched the show, and my wife liked it. Not because I think the action part, because he took his shirt off a couple of times in the show. And she went, "Oh, we can watch this. This is good." And so ladies, if you're listening, maybe you want to tune into Reacher. I don't know. But I went back and I decided to read the books. And that was one of the things that was in that thread. That's always in that thread is mission first.
Mm-hmm.
He's always on track. He could do here, he could go save himself, but he had a mission to save this person. So that's what it is, mission first. And I love that the congruency there. So that truly comes out of the military. And it is. That's the advocacy for the military is mission first and people. And people always. I love that. So, all right. So you're also the founder of A Vision Consulting. So tell us a little bit about that, and how did that come to be about?
That's a funny story how that came to be about. And so I actually had no idea that there was a such thing as a leadership coach. I didn't know it was a thing. I had no idea.
Thank God it is, right?
Yeah, thank God it is. I was actually, here's a funny story, is I was on my way to a conference. I don't remember where it was, but I'm sitting in a car with an Uber driver. And the Uber driver, he tells me, we're talking about my career. And he was like, yeah, so, you got 20 plus years in. When you retire, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to be a leadership success coach. And he was like, really? My sister is one. My mouth fell open because I didn't know it was a real thing, right?
You were just making this up.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm going to teach people leadership when I leave. I didn't know that they had other, I didn't know that I could make money doing this. I knew I was going to try to make money doing it, but I didn't know it was a thing. And he actually introduced me to his sister. and his sister is Robin from RAC.
Oh,
Robin
sure.
Rickenbach.
Robin. Yeah.
Yeah,
Rob Rickenbacker. Sure.
yeah. And
Mutual
so,
acquaintance we have.
yeah, I sat down with her, and I told her about what I was doing in the military and what I've accomplished and why I wanted to be a leadership success coach. And she was just like, "Man, you have what it takes already. You ought to look into RAC." And I was like, "What's RAC?" And she was like, "Well, I'll make the introduction." And she was like, "Do you have, books and all of that type of stuff yet?" I said, "No, those are things that I'm going to write, and those are the things that I plan on writing later on." She was like, "Well, this organization fits within the philosophy that you just told us. Why don't you sit down with them?" And that's how A Vision Worldwide was born, through an introduction of an Uber driver, which is Robin's
That is a
brother.
great story. Yeah. Because that's the same association, the same group that we are both part of for our
Yep.
coaching businesses. And that's tremendous. I love that story. And Robin is a sweetheart and a great gal. And we've tried to do some work together and partner together on a couple of projects as well. So good for you, man. That's freaking awesome. So let's talk about growth opportunities for Growing America. How can people get involved? And maybe not just veterans, because not everybody who's listening is a veteran, but how can people get involved and support Veterans Growing America?
Several ways. So, like I said, we're a national organization. We're a for-profit organization. We're not a nonprofit. However, we take care of veteran organizations throughout the United States, by doing these events nationally. And one way that organizations or anyone that wants to support us, they can sponsor our events.
Okay.
And they can also sponsor our platform. And so
Wow.
we have two ways. In sponsoring our events, what this allows us to do is to have more events nationally, which will bring veterans together. Veterans, for the most part, really don't identify as veteran business owners because they don't realize all of the resources that are available to them. There's over 40,000 free resources for veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. Well, through Veterans Growing America, we bring all of those resources together through our platform. And the way that we reach our community is through these events, by bringing people together. And then we also bring them into our platform, which is a social platform. If you go to veteransgrowingamerica.com, it's two things. One, it's a place where people can sell their products through an e-commerce platform. Mm-hmm. On the back end of it, it's a social networking platform for veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs where they can collaborate, communicate, and educate one another through sharing resources and all kind of stuff, because there's pitch competitions out there that people may need to be aware of. There's grant funding opportunities that people need to be aware of. There's maybe basic information like, I just started this business, but how do I pay myself?
Sure.
And someone may ask that question to another person and they can introduce them to people. So there's several different ways that people can get involved with Veterans Growing America. And it's a passion of mine because these were questions that I have and had as an entrepreneur, and just connecting people with one another and with resources is what we're all about.
That's tremendous, and I'm definitely going to put some of my connections in connection with you and help them as well. I got some great veteran-owned businesses that I do business with as well. So I know I want to keep you all in because I know you're busy with everything, but I got 3 questions for you. You ready? I've got 3 final questions, and I call them the bald truth questions because we touch the soul here. So think about this. If you're holding a dinner party for 6, yourself included, so you get to invite 5 people. 5 people, but here's the caveat. You get to invite anybody in all of history, alive or dead. Who do you invite and why?
Whew. I can think of 3 of 5.
Okay. Take what you got.
I would love to have 5, but I know that with 5 people, I really can't get the information that I need out of them. One person that I would invite is my number 1 person when it comes to military, which is Colin Powell.
Okay.
I've been wanting to meet Colin Powell since I joined the military. He was the highest ranking African-American in the military. And just to see him at that height, really motivated me to be where I went. And I would love to just sit at his feet and learn from him. Number two would be President Obama. He was the first African American. I don't even need to tell people this, but reaching that height and the issues that he had to go through and the turmoil that he had to go through in order to be there. Mm-hmm. And just, learning about, his mindset and how he had to think and the way that he educated himself. I would love to sit down and just have a conversation with him about that. Because the guy is absolutely fearless, and last but not least, I would love to have my grandfather there, Mr. Ed Reed. He passed away back in 2001. And his love, his respect, and his leadership in my life, just to be able to have that sounding board in my adult life for one more conversation would be absolutely amazing.
Well, that's three good guys right there. Three good people. I love that. So maybe you'll find another one along the way. Think about that. I'll let you think about that and chew on that for a while. So now, second question, articles being written about you after you're gone. We all have an end game, right? We all have an expiration date, so to speak. What's the title of this article? They're writing an article about you. What's the title?
The title of it is Service. Donnell, I think it would say service above self.
Excellent. Good title. Excellent. So now here's a little something our listeners can take back from you. You're obviously successful. You got a lot of stuff going on with Veterans Growing America, with a vision worldwide. How do you set yourself up for success every morning? What do you do to set yourself up for success?
So first thing in the morning, before I even get out of bed, I really think about how grateful I am. And I really think about, and just thank God for allowing me to just wake up in the morning and have the family that I have. And I just think about how grateful I am to be alive. Next, I do some push-ups or I run. I can't run, the way that I used to. My run looks more like a walk now.
Don't I know it, man? I'll tell you what.
And then on top of that, I really think about what can I do to help me achieve what I plan on achieving at the end of the year. And so I have this philosophy, 1% per day. And so if you just improve 1% per day, in 100 days, you'll be 100% better. And so I try to improve 1% per day. I'll read a little article. I'll, find a quote. I'll find some information that will help me get a little bit better per day.
That's awesome. Good advice. So folks, listen up, get up, do your push-ups, be thankful, and do something to make you 1% better every single day. Donnell, thank you so much for being on The Bald Truth. Thanks for sharing your time with us today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So how can people get a hold of you real quick before we sign off here? How can people get a hold of you?
So you can search my name on LinkedIn, Donnell Johns, DONNELLJOHNS. You can email at Donnell@veteransgrowingamerica.com. You could also find me on, or you can find Veterans Growing America on all platforms, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of those, Veterans Growing America.
Excellent. So folks, go out, Veterans Growing America. So check them out, Insta, TikTok. I don't even know how to TikTok.
I tried. I got a couple TikTok videos on there, but it's nothing. I don't dance. I don't sing. I don't do any of that stuff. I I think I have like 2 videos on there, but most of the stuff that I'm going to do on there is really educating small businesses on resources. And so I just started the account probably 6 months ago, and I have 2 videos.
Hey, everybody has to start somewhere. That's right. Well, thanks for being on, folks. We appreciate it, folks. I'm Coach Rick. Remember, check us out on iTunes, Spotify. Make sure you like and subscribe to Bald Truth Leadership Podcast, and check us out on social media too. Coach Rick Colster or the Bald Truth Podcast on Insta. Check us out on the Bald Truth Podcast on Facebook. We're on all the social media applications. We got them all. Folks, I'm Coach Rick, and that's the Bald Truth.
You've been listening to The Bald Truth with Coach Rick of the Peak Performance Group, the company that helps people and organizations reach their potential. If you're looking for a way to grow your organization, whether it's sales or strategic direction, the Peak Performance Group coaches can help you grow with their proven business acceleration process. Call them at 817-748-7425 or go to mypotentialplus.com and they'll connect you with the right coach for you. And remember to subscribe and like below. The Bald Truth Leadership Podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, and YouTube video. Hit like and subscribe to get every episode. Thanks for listening to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. And until next time, roll up your sleeves and get to work, and you can make things happen.
I'm Coach Rick, and that's the Bald Truth.